Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Lights Camera Discussion podcast. My name is Massey923, and as always, I'm joined by my co-hosts. Well, it's a 1 for the collie, 2 for the Todd, 3 for the Massey. Now suck my rod, but don't you step in Baz Luhrmann's shoes. Guys,
That was very good.
thank you.
That was very good. That is the best one you've ever done.
Thank you very
The bar
much.
was always going to be low for that, but that was very, very good.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I wasn't sure how you would take it.
I love the commitment to the voice as well.
Yeah, the voice was the best bit about. If you had just done that in your normal voice, I wouldn't have been as impressed. But no, very good, Massey. Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But guys, how are we doing today? How's things?
Not bad. How are you?
All good, all good. I'm happier now that you've taken that well. So today we're back again with another episode, and Collie, it was your choice. So tell us a bit about the person we're discussing today.
Today we're going to be discussing Baz Luhrmann. He's an Australian filmmaker known for his bold visual style, energetic storytelling, and lavish productions. His films combine striking imagery, contemporary music, and emotional, larger-than-life performances to create a signature cinematic experience. Throughout his career, Luhrmann has become one of cinema's most distinctive directors, celebrated for blending theatrical spectacle with heartfelt storytelling.
Absolutely. And that's something we're going to be talking about as we go through these two episodes. This is the first part, and then we'll be discussing the second part very shortly. Collie, take us away. What is the first film we're going to be talking about today?
We're going to be discussing 1992's Strictly Ballroom, which follows talented ballroom dancer Scott Hastings, who defies the rigid rules of competitive ballroom dancing by creating his own unconventional dance steps. After being ostracized by the ballroom community, partners with the shy but determined beginner Fran. As they train together, their friendship develops into a romance, and with the help of Fran's family, Scott learns to dance with passion rather than conformity.
Passion. Well, first thoughts then. Collie, get started. Have you seen this before, or is this a first watch for you?
This was a first watch for me, and I was to and fro about, whether we include this or not, because, he's most well known for his second film. But in watching it and in doing a bit of research, I'm glad that we did include it, because it kind of shows what we're going to be getting, especially in the first half of his directorial career. So yeah, ended up really enjoying it. Surprisingly, it's got such a weird tone and style, even compared to his later work, with the kind of rockumentary kind of style at times. I wasn't expecting that, but I did quite like it, and you could tell that it was Australian, obviously, like aside from the accents, but it's very like down to earth, larger than life characters. Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yep, I totally agree. It was one of those that obviously when you chose Baz Luhrmann, I knew about his kind of later films and the more well-known stuff, so it was interesting to see where it all kind of started. And yeah, the mockumentary side of things, it took me a wee second to kind of understand it and stuff, but yeah, it felt absurdist as well at points. It was over the top, it was dramatic, but at the end of the day there was a lot of heart in it, and I really appreciated that, and very much enjoyed it for what it was. So good choice, Collie, good choice. Todd, thoughts on Strictly Ballroom?
Yeah, first time watching it, and like when I saw it, I was like, I can't believe we're fucking watching this. What are we watching it? Like,
fucking, that says something coming for you, by the way.
Oh my God. Tell me about it. No, and it was absolutely like it was brilliant. I think it dips in and out of like it doesn't quite hold the tone, which is why I probably didn't rate it as highly as I would have. Like, I would have liked it to have been as silly right the way through, or as like absurdist. I think it's a great way to put it. But it made me laugh so much more than I expected. Like, it gripped me more than I expected it to. It was a lot of it. Do you know what? It's something that I will probably watch again at some point in the future, and never expected to.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, let's get into the kind of the cast of pretty much unknowns, really. The main two, obviously, of Scott Hastings and Fran. Colin, what were your thoughts on their sort of like their chemistry and their romanticism that was involved?
I thought for being the lead, I thought Paul Mercurio as Scott was like really understated, and there was no real great like acting scenes per se. A lot of it was obviously driven by the fact that he's really good at his choreography and his dancing and stuff. So I think that's maybe more why he was cast rather than his acting chops per se. But I think that made it a little bit more believable, and I think that suited the kind of documentary style that we're talking about here, to be honest. I thought Fran was great as well, all the way from, first being interviewed about Scott and Liz before during the first competition right at the beginning, and obviously you see the physical transformation of her, like losing her glasses, and like the chemistry with Scott like blossoming in that. So I thought the lead two performances were really good, and I think we'll speak about this probably throughout his films, but Baz Luhrmann seems to be really good at creating like an eclectic cast of people, and the leads, not in a bad way, but the leads become part of the overall cast. There's not really as many standout performances that like rise above the rest of the cast. I think everyone pulls together to create like a stramash of
I love it.
of good chemistry between whether it's a character that's got one line in the lead or the lead and the supporting the directly supporting cast. But yeah, I thought there were two solid performances. Again, like you say, all the cast is unknown. Certainly for me anyway. And that does lend to the more amateur first ever film kind of style. But again, we'll maybe talk a little bit about the trivia later on when we're wrapping up talking about the film. But it lends itself to where it came from. In terms of how Baz Luhrmann developed it and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. I think you're totally spot on with Paul Mercurio as Scott, and it was the dancing side of things that made his performance, over his kind of acting as such. It was the dancing that kind of brought it up further, which I really appreciate. I agree with Fran. Like the whole thing with losing her glasses stuff as well. It felt really. Like on Not Another Teen Movie, which is one of the greatest parody films of all time, where it's like she loses her glasses and becomes this like incredible woman that all the guys want and stuff.
It was all the rage in the 90s, was it? And this was in 92, so yeah, you're right.
Absolutely. But again, I think a lot of her performance, certainly at the start, it was quite the nerdy girl and the sort of like the weird sort of the weird girl who we've seen these sort of movies before, and it was kind of over the top and silly, but then it progressed into like a more serious as their romance blossomed and stuff, and I really appreciated that part of the performance well. I agree with the stramash of the cast. I think there was some, for me, there was some standout performances. Like you got Barry Fife as the head guy, who really reminded me, and we spoke about this on a couple of times throughout the podcast on different episodes, but it reminded me of Dennis Quaid in Substance. Like I think it was
very much so.
He was quite disgusting in a way, and the way that he was shot as well. A lot of it was like kind of like close-ups from below him, and just and him just being like an over the top kind of not horrible. Well, yeah, he was kind of a horrible person, but just being disgusted and just feeling creepy and stuff.
He's like a proper like mustache twirling villain, which is like what Quaid is in The Substance, and he's definitely like that in this as well. Yeah,
absolutely. And then Scott's mum as well, Shirley, like being again this like over the top sort of feather boa wearing. It's almost like a wag, but like a mum of the dancer, which I really liked, and she kind of reminded me as well a bit of the woman in the wheelchair in Benidorm.
Oh yeah.
But again, there was just like performances, like just really kind of quirky characters, and I really enjoyed seeing them come out with their own sort of personalities as such. Todd, what about yourself? Anyone stood out? Obviously the two leads, and any others that stood out for you?
Yeah, I think you've nailed it with Scott. He didn't have a great amount to do emotionally or whatever, because it was that kind of the spectacle of him dancing. I loved that Fran was like an object of slapstick for a while. Like that got me. Where she got like squashed behind the door when she's chasing after them, and then somebody comes back through the door and she gets squashed. Like that. I'd like to point out as well, I wrote down, she's got a ponytail and glasses, she just needs paint-covered overalls. So we're on the same sort of page. But I think because you're right, Colin, because it was at that time, it didn't feel like tacked on. Like if I'd have seen that now, in what is, let's be honest, a relatively, I know it's silly and I know it's absurd and I know it's slapstick, but it turns into a romance. Like it's a, that's at the end is that legitimate love story. I think I'd have maybe lost it if it was a more modern film, but it's a product of its time. Yeah, I loved Barry Fife, but Shirley for me was like, so when I started watching it, all I could think of was like those sort of British style sitcoms as well from the 90s, that kind of like it had that feel to it, and like you say, that grounded down to earth. She wouldn't have been misplaced in EastEnders. Do you know what I mean? She would have been. I know that's not a sitcom like a soap, but thinking about the slapstick side of stuff would fit into some of the more sitcom kind of things. But I thought Shirley was incredible. Like, again, not necessarily the villain, but all the way through was single-minded. Just great fun. She was just brilliant fun, and I loved Doug, the kind of her husband, the muted man next to her, and obviously his rise to his rise to power in the film, which I thought was brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. Collie, anything else you want to touch on, like with the cast, or do you want to discuss maybe choreography or something? Or
No, I think we've touched on everything with the cast. Like, again, it's a very eclectic bunch. The standouts being, Scott's mum and Barry Fife would be the other two that I'd mentioned, but you guys have covered that really. I thought, Fran's family were nice in a few of their performances and the way that they were caring for her, and then kind of embraced and tutored Scott to how to maybe, again, kind of what I said in the beginning, dance with the passion rather than conformity, which is kind of the vibe throughout this, and quite a few of Baz's films is like, be yourself and don't conform to what the standards, and be your own artistic flow.
I mean, yeah, just on the back of that as well, like one of the things I wrote down, which was hilarious, was like everyone getting so upset by like his like moves, and it's like there's not really much wrong, or it doesn't look much different. It's like a little bit here or there, and everyone's so offended by him not doing the exact moves that are in the dance and stuff. And that, like, some of the reactions to that had me absolutely creasing. I think that I think in the, like, for me anyway, with the film, just kind of overall, the first part, I wrote this down as well. Like, I was creasing like most of the time. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. It kind of dipped a little bit towards the half, and then had this like sort of like really kind of powerful ending and stuff. But like the first like third of it, it's just hilarious. Like the reactions to the dancing and stuff like that. Todd, anything you want to add?
No, sorry, I didn't touch on John Hannon as Ken. Like, so he wasn't the big bad, but he was just a bastard, and like he was fantastic. Again, I looked because I was sure I recognised him from something. I didn't, but I think it's because he fits into that sort of sitcom role so well. I thought he was brilliant. But that will be everybody on that. In terms of the style though, and that document, I wish they'd stuck a little bit more with the documentary style, even if it was just snippets of it, because that was genius from the off. And really good.
I guess it would have probably been hard to carry on the narrative style through the documentary and mockumentary. Like why would there be a film crew following Scott and Fran about when they're like dancing in secret? You know what I mean? Whereas like the documentary style was only really around the competitions.
Yeah.
So I think thematically it kept that consistent, even though it didn't hold it through the whole film, and it dipped into the narrative when it was like needing to tell the story of Scott and stuff in the background. And just one mention for me, Barry Otto as Scott's dad, Doug. I thought he was funny as well, and like the whole reveal of it was actually him that was this dancer and stuff, and it had been not covered up. Well, yeah, kind of covered up for Scott's life, because when he was, I don't remember who's shown him the photo of it, but it's like the back of the dancer's head, and he's like, "Oh, that's so and so," and the guy's like, "No, that's your dad," and it's all revealed from there. I thought that was quite funny.
It's just very camp, isn't it? And like over the top and stuff, and yeah, I mean, it's something that will talk about a lot in Baz's films, that they're very camp and over the top. So you can see where it kind of all started. Okay. Anything else you want to talk about? College, you said trivia or something you wanted to discuss, or?
Well, it touching on what we're talking about, really, to be honest, because it began as a stage play in the 80s, in the early 80s, when he was studying and working with the National Institute of Dramatic Art in Australia. So you can kind of tell that it's been converted from a stage play, and then, funnily enough, I think maybe 20 years ago, it then got converted into a musical. And people like Will Young and Matt Cardle played in the West End and stuff like that, which I thought was kind of a full circle moment. And then kind of what I was talking about prior to the start of the podcast about it being a trilogy. It's considered the first film in the Red Curtain trilogy. Luhrmann groups it with Romeo and Juliet and Moulin Rouge because all three embrace theatrical storytelling, heightened emotion, and spectacle. So that's why when we're talking about how to split the episode, I thought putting these first three films together was the right way to go about it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, shall we go on to our quote scenes MVPs?
Yeah.
Okay. So Collie, favorite quote?
For me, so it's just at the final competition, Franz Yaya as a life lived in fear, as a life half lived. Which for me kind of fully encompassed the Luhrmann message of the movie, which is, not conforming and being yourself and following your own path. So I thought that was kind of a summation of the themes of the film.
Definitely, I love that quote actually when I first heard it. I went down a bit of more of a silly route, but my favorite one was Liz, Scott's ex-partner, saying to him, "I'm not dancing with you until you dance like you're supposed to." And it's just that absurdist comedic stuff that I absolutely love from the first part. Todd?
So mine's a similar sort of thing. It's when they kicking off, and she says, as if he's going to walk in here and say, "Pam Shaw's broke both her legs and I want to dance with you." And then the doors open and he walks in and says, "Pam Shaw's broke both her legs and I want to dance with you." The delivery and the timing of that was fucking phenomenal.
It was the cut to her in the car and she's like going, "Ah!" And then the whole car's spinning round in the screen. I thought that was funny.
Oh, me. Favorite scene, Collie?
For me, it's like the final dance competition, and then when it transitions to Love Is in the Air, and like Doug and Shirley dance together, and the audience comes on it. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, that was the Paso Doble, wasn't it? The final one that they did, right? Yeah, that was for me the standout as well. It's I love a good Paso Doble with emotion and cha cha cha. Todd, favorite scene?
Mine's the opening. I think because it got me gripped into a film that I wasn't up for watching as such, in the style that it was in. I take back everything I said under my breath and in my head, and that documentary style, but also like you say the farce side of it, like the absurdity of it, how over the top it was, but not too camp. Let's get that right now, because but yeah, that opening was absolutely phenomenal.
Excellent stuff. And MVP, Collie?
For me, it has to be Luhrmann. It made like 80 million Australian dollars off a 3 million budget, won the People's Choice Award at the Toronto Festival. So I think it really kickstarted the rest of his career.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. For me, it was John Cha-Cha O'Connell was the choreographer. The film was nothing without the dance numbers, and I thought the choreography throughout was incredible. So shout out to
How's that
Cha-Cha.
going to piss me off, by the way? I know you said that's going to piss me off. It's a film about dancing, and the choreography is really good.
It's just
different when there's a film with no score, and you're like, "Oh, I really like the score because of this," or with the basic production. "Oh, I really like the production design." Stuff like
or
that.
Neil Breen, the
that's
catering
probably
and
one of
stuff.
your best MVP shouts you've ever had.
Thank you. Todd?
Mine was Pat Thompson as Shirley, as the mum. I thought she got the middle of the road in terms of slapstick, but also the acting side of things. I thought she was absolutely brilliant.
Good stuff. All right, and we'll move on to our ratings then. So, Collie?
4 stars for me.
Nice. I gave it 3.5. I think it could be 4 stars after discussion. Todd?
Yeah, mine was 3.5 after I felt like it dipped a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's definitely I'll rewatch, and I think it'll only get better on a rewatch.
Absolutely. Right, yo. On to the next one. Collie, what is this?
We are going to be talking about 1996's Romeo and Juliet. It's a modern retelling of Shakespeare's tragedy set in the fictional Verona Beach, where two powerful rival families, the Montagues and the Capulets, are locked in a violent feud. When Romeo Montague and Juliet Capulet meet and fall deeply in love, they secretly marry despite knowing their families would never approve. As tensions between the families escalate and a series of tragic misunderstandings unfold, the young lovers' relationship ends in heartbreak.
Wow. Excellent. First thoughts then, Collie?
So I watched this, like, I don't know, maybe mid-2000s for the first time or something like that. I was definitely, like, in my early teens. Really enjoyed it. Obviously, the different style with the fact that it's Shakespeare's text, but delivered through this modern version of, like, you know, California and that. Really interested in me. I hadn't watched it for a long time. And then I think this is one of the main catalysts as to why we're doing Baz Luhrmann, is that it was my sister's request. Like, she loves a lot of his films, this and Moulin Rouge specifically. So yeah, I wanted to rewatch this from a more podcast kind of mind. First time I watched it, I was like, I don't know if this is as good as I remember it being. But then I think it was on my second or third rewatch, I was like, you know what, this is actually like so well done, so well acted. Like the art and set design, amazing. So yeah, loved it.
Good stuff. I'm not a big fan of Shakespeare. I'll put that out there. The Macbeth film that came out not long ago with Denzel, like, that everyone raved about. It got, I think, a cinematography nod it got and stuff I didn't like. This film, because it's all like Shakespeare talk, it's the only way I can put it. I it really brought me out of it. Like, I don't like it. I understand that is a minority, like, feeling. It's just not for me. There was a lot to love from it. There was some really good things in it, but overall it was tough for me to get through. But I tried to appreciate it from certainly a technical standpoint. There was a lot to love, but yeah, just not for me. Todd?
Yeah, so I watched this. I think we might have watched it at school, maybe, like in terms of an English lesson or something. I love it. It's something I can just stick on, and I'm surprised I haven't watched it more. I'm not a big Shakespeare guy at all, and I think it's a ballsy move to make a modernized version with the Shakespearean language. I think it's such a massive leap, maybe. But I just think it works so well. I think it makes it accessible. It makes it, because of what's going on around, like, the language, it makes it more understandable as well. But I think performances are phenomenal. Again, I love that heightened element of it where it is ever so slight. No, it's not ever so slightly. Where it is over the top, where the performances are ridiculous. And I also love some of the choices that he's made that we'll get into. But I think some of the choices with the characters were big swings that I think really hit as well.
Absolutely.
Great film.
Fair enough. Well, let's get into it then. Obviously, similar to Strictly Ballroom, there's a main two that have a romance. Of course, the titular Romeo and Juliet. Collie, what were your thoughts on Leo and Claire Danes?
So obviously, I watched this after the big Leo, jump with the likes of Titanic and through, like, Gangs of New York and Catch Me If You Can. I definitely watched this after that. So I knew how big a star he was going to be, but I think he brings everything that he's done throughout his career in terms of, experience and effort and just convincing, especially during this kind of teenage heartthrob era of his career. I thought he was excellent, and for the longest time I did not know that it was Claire Danes in this. Like, I love Homeland, and it wasn't until for this, like I never remembered it being her. Like, I didn't watch Homeland and go, oh my god, that's Juliet from Romeo and Juliet. So it was interesting to watch her, and kind of not sad in a way, but she's so good in this, and then to, like, not become this massive star off the back of it is disappointing because of how much I enjoyed her performance. Just a little bit, while we touch on her, a little bit of trivia is that she was actually offered Rose in Titanic and turned it down because she didn't want to do another film with Leo right off the back of this one.
Wow.
So it's amazing, like, what would have changed if she had done that. But on the flip side of that, she wasn't originally cast as Juliet. It was somebody else, which we can maybe touch on later during the trivia bit. But the age gap was just seemed to be, or determined to be, too much between this other actress and Leo. So it ended up being Claire Danes. So I think she obviously got the benefit of being in this. But whether she fulfilled her full potential, I wouldn't really say so, because I think she is really, really solid in this.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I think the chemistry between Claire Danes and Leo was really good. Like, even just like the looks they gave each other, like it was proper star-crossed lovers. Like they properly, like, you could tell that there was like that chemistry in between them and stuff as well. Yeah, I really like that sort of. It was almost like the physicality of it, which I really enjoyed. And yeah, I mean, I don't think it was tough for me to kind of like get through it because of obviously the the whole issues that I spoke about with Shakespeare stuff. So I was trying to like watch them and like watch how their chemistry and stuff progressed, and that was definitely one of the high points for me. Certainly throughout the whole cast, they were definitely standouts, and I really enjoyed their sort of being in the moment and acting alongside each other. It was really good to see that in what was a film I didn't really enjoy too much. Todd, thoughts on those two?
Yeah, I think going back to what Collie said about the heartthrob era of Leo, and when you go back and rewatch, Titanic's another one that I need to go back to and sort of tackle again as such.
Maybe pick James Cameron as a director in case you want to watch that instead of some of the other choices, Todd. Just a bit of advice.
I'm all right for now. I might sub one out later on. We'll have a look, but I'm okay for now. I think I'll just watch it on my own time.
To be fair, that would mean Avatar again, which.
Oh yeah, veto. Yeah, no.
I actually changed one of my choices to him now. Just
no.
Anyway,
the end of the podcast. No, it's it could be very easy to cast somebody in a heartthrob role and do the heartthrobby thing, like as in do that didn't sound right as it was coming out. But just do the sort of the stereotypical heartthrob thing, and I think we'll get into that at another film. But I think Leo brings a level of nuance to it, and there's like the delivery of the of his soliloquies and stuff, like when he's whispering. I know.
soliloquy.
It's a good word. That was phenomenal. That whisper was just so well done, and I think it takes a lot. Claire Danes, I know she's been in TV, but I'm not. I've said before, I'm not a big TV guy. And the fact that she hasn't been consistently cast in films, and I know, like you said, she turned down Titanic and stuff, and it's her career, and she's consistently working. I'm not, but I would have liked to have seen her in more films after this. I thought she was stunning. I think she brings a level of emotion to it. There's like a softness to her that is like so watchable. I thought she was amazing. And somebody who I wish I could see more of in films.
Good stuff. I mean, it was a stacked cast, wasn't it? There were some really big names within the whole thing. Who were some people that stood out for yourself, Collie?
Harold Perrineau as Mercutio. I thought he was excellent. John Leguizamo as Tybalt as well. I thought they were great, and I thought their confrontation was really good. And obviously, that's the catalyst towards the end of the film for everything that kind of befalls Romeo and Juliet. But I thought that they were solid. The opening sequence at the petrol station, I thought that over the top nature, and it's got your man from Scream.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie Kennedy. What's his name? Todd. Yeah. I thought he was excellent, as was was it Benvolio, like the bigger guy, the lead of those kind of couple of characters. I thought what's that, Dash Mihawk was excellent as him as well. But kind of similar to the last film, like there's so many good performances underneath the main two that their interactions are great, and their interactions with the main two are great, and it just brings everybody up, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, certainly for me, like, and I mean, we'll talk about it later and stuff, but yeah, the gas station stuff with them too, and the face off with John Leguizamo's character was really good, and yeah, Mercutio as well. I thought in all of the kind of cast, like he obviously has quite a bit to do as well, but his was kind of matching the over the top sort of tone of the whole thing the most, certainly, like in the ways that Romeo and Juliet were kind of themselves. It was almost like he was acting with the film, if that makes sense. Does that sound really wanky? I think it does. But yeah, I really, Paul Rudd was a weird one for me, because I don't know if it's because I know him as Paul Rudd, but he just felt out of place in everything that the parts that he was in. Again, that's probably because I used to see him as like Ant-Man and like the old Paul Rudd stuff.
It looks exactly the same.
Yeah, it's crazy that he does. And the rest of the family stuff as well really didn't do much for me. Someone that I actually really enjoyed was Miriam Margolyes as the nurse. Like, she was one of the few kind of actually funny, but also like really kind of parts that had loads of heart in it. But yeah, I think she's hilarious. But yeah, again, it's a really interesting stat cast. It's just not for me, but I think there's some really interesting performances in there. Certainly, as I say, a standout for me was Mercutio. Todd?
Yeah, Mercutio for me was incredible, and I think just when I said at the beginning about Baz Luhrmann's choices to like have him in drag as well, which I think was like a big one, because he is the masculine character. He's the he's the kind of the one that Romeo looks up to, and I think to have him in drag and to perform in that way was a really interesting choice of like, who is this person? His masculinity isn't defined by what he wears. I thought that was really cool. But on performance, I thought he was phenomenal. I think you could overplay his death as such, like you could, and I don't think he does at all. I think it's so well done. It's like it's considered, how he dies and his performance in that. The only other one who I think we haven't really like touched on is Peter Postlethwaite, who for me was phenomenal as the father. He's so, I think we use this word a lot, but like in terms of his stoicism, like he's so like I'd believe he could tell me anything and I'd believe him. And his delivery in this was second to none. It was just brilliant. And Romeo and Juliet's been done to death, and you get the big sort of lines, you get the big monologues and stuff, the quotes that everybody knows, but to kind of put the father and do it the way that he did with something different was very difficult, but very well done.
Just in the back of Peter Postlethwaite, I forgot to mention him as well. He was the one that, so I felt like everyone was in the Romeo and Juliet film. He was the one that felt like he was in the play, if that makes sense. Like, I felt like he was like doing like a stage play as opposed to everyone else was doing like the big film thing. But yeah, I quite enjoyed him as well. Anything else you want to touch on? College of Trivia or anything, or?
Yeah, so it was Natalie Portman was cast, but she was only like 13 or 14 at the time, and Leo was 2021. So they just determined that to be too much of an age gap, and it just looked wrong. And then Sarah Michelle Gellar apparently turned down the role, and then Leo put forth that he thought Claire Danes was I think she must have auditioned for it, and I think he said their chemistry was really good, so he pushed for her. And Christian Bale read for the role of Mercutio, but ended up going to Harold Perrineau. So there. Again, that's Wikipedia, so I don't know how true it is, but that's
Wikipedia is always true.
Yeah, so I think on the Rewatchables podcast that I listen to, they do a thing called half-arsed internet research, and that's what they would probably put that under. So anything off like IMDb or Wikipedia that can be inputted by a random, then yeah, that's what I'd categorize that as.
Absolutely. Before we go into quote, I just want to say, have you guys ever seen Repo the Genetic Opera?
Nope.
Funnily enough, no.
No, okay. It's like this proper over the top, like it's like a hard rock musical kind of thing, but with like over the top sort of sets and set designs. A lot of it's CGI. It's kind of shitty, but it's really kind of camp and stuff as well. And a lot of this film reminded me of that. I just wanted to say that before I forget. Definitely go and check it out. Paris Hilton's in it, and she's absolutely gives her all. No, honestly, and it's got Anthony Head as like the main guy. He's like the dad. Okay. Rest in peace, obviously. It's really good. Some of the songs are incredible. Genuinely,
average is 3.2.
It's really good. Anyway, sorry about that. It's just a beside the point kind of thing. But when you watch it, you'll see what I mean about kind of like the sort of sets and stuff like that from there. Right. I mean, everyone watching and listening as well, go watch it if you're not. Okay, so on to our favourite stuff. So quotes. Collie, what was your favourite quote from this film?
It has to be A Plague on Both Your Houses by Mercutio. I think that's one of the iconic Romeo and Juliet lines. And on the back of like what you were saying earlier, like I don't particularly know a lot about Shakespeare or anything like that, but that's just one of those quotes I think from this that is transcended just being a Shakespearean line from Romeo and Juliet. Mm-hmm. And just delivery. I thought his delivery was excellent on it, the way that he kind of reinforces it a couple of times.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's similar kind of thought line for me as well. Like it's the famous one that, oh, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? But like the way that it was delivered, like I kind of understood it or felt it a bit more, if that makes sense, from Claire Danes. So yeah, that was my favorite quote from the few that I enjoyed. Todd?
Mine was from the petrol station scene. Mine was do you bite your thumb at us, sir? I do bite my thumb, sir. Do you bite your thumb at us, sir? The delivery of that is fun. And the afterwards of, no, I do not bite my thumb. Jamie Kennedy. Being Jamie Kennedy and being over the top was wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
The bit in that scene when he's like getting hit with the handbags and stuff while he's hiding behind the door was making me proper piss myself.
Well, on the back of that, just onto favorite scene, I'll quickly just say the gas station scene for me. It felt Tarantino-esque, which was like like over the top, kind of colorfully, kind of yeah. Collie?
Yeah, that was my favorite scene as well.
Sorry. Todd?
No, it's fine. We've discussed it plenty. You're all good.
Mine was the wedding scene with the everybody's free. I thought that was it's so well done. It's just stunning.
Excellent stuff.
Well, my second choice was when they like see each other through the fish tank and stuff like that. I think that's probably one of the most images from this that have stood the test of time, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Just on the back of that, one of my notes: fish cross lovers.
Keep going. Keep trying.
Anyway, MVP, Collie.
For me, it was Luhrmann again, showing that he can handle, these big stars, and he can convert, a famous text or whatever into a movie to varying degrees of success, as we'll go on to later on. But I think for him, from stepping up from strictly Ballroom to this is such a massive leap in terms of budget and actors and all that kind of stuff. And like Todd said at the beginning, it's very ballsy to stick with the old language while setting it in modern times. So yeah, I definitely think he was my MVP.
Absolutely. For me, it was Catherine Martin, the production designer. Some of the sets and stuff were just incredible. She's no John Cha O'Donnell, but I thought the production design was incredible in this film. Absolutely.
Todd? Only a Oscar nomination was for art direction / set direction.
There we go.
You go.
Todd?
Mine was Pete Postlethwaite. Like, just genuinely, in terms of he's got so little to do, and I was enamored every second he was on the screen. I thought he was phenomenal.
Excellent
Just
stuff.
on the Baz thing, he won the BAFTA for this, and then wasn't even nominated at the Oscars, which I thought was interesting.
Wow. That is very interesting.
Strange.
Especially not even getting a nomination, like.
Just shows that even 30 years ago the Oscars were bizarre when it comes to stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. All right, scores. Collie.
It's a 5 for me.
Cool. 2 stars for me. Todd.
5 from me.
So just to clarify, it was 2 for you. You gave that Repo whatever the shit 3, and it averaged 3.2, and it had Paris Hilton in it. Okay.
Trust me. And whenever I rate as well, I don't compare it to other films as how I've rated, because then it just gets all messy. It just gets completely messy. Okay,
so why do we slag certain people for doing that then?
Because it's funny. Okay, moving on to the next one and the final in the Red Curtain trilogy.
Yes, as per your research, Massey. Yes, the Red Curtain trilogy. Well done.
Go on, Collie.
We're going to be talking about 2001's Moulin Rouge. It's a romantic musical set in the famous Parisian nightclub, the Moulin Rouge, at the turn of the 20th century. The story follows young English writer Christian, who moves to Paris in search of artistic inspiration. He falls deeply in love with the club's dazzling star performer Satine, but the romance is threatened when a wealthy duke agrees to finance the nightclub in exchange for Satine's affection. As Christian and Satine struggle to keep their love alive in secret, the film builds to an emotional and tragic conclusion.
All right. Well, first thoughts, Collie.
Seen this many times. It's one of my sister's favorite movies, so we have watched it multiple times and talked about it and stuff. Probably the main reason why we're doing Baz Luhrmann today. I really enjoy it. I enjoy the performances for what they are within the direction of the film and stuff. And I think, knowing what you are going to say, I think like that's what I try and bear in mind is like I'm looking at it objectively within this film and what Baz Luhrmann was after. Some of the performances are ridiculous, and if you don't look at them through that lens, then I can totally get that. But I think it's fantastic. I think again it builds again on Romeo and Juliet and Strictly Ballroom's like ascending quality. Some of it falls a little bit short for me compared to Romeo and Juliet. But again, really eclectic cast, amazing set design. We didn't really talk about it in Romeo and Juliet, but the combination of modern music with an older kind of setting or language within the film. Obviously, this is actually set 100 years ago or whatever, yet they're using songs from the 80s and 90s. I think it's a really cool choice and one that I really enjoy.
Fair enough. Yeah, I tried. Again, there were some things that I really liked. There were some things that I did not like, and the kind of jukebox, I think they call it jukebox musical stuff, it just wasn't for me. It was, again, proper over the top, proper cheesy, and yeah, I really struggled to get on board with it from the start. I didn't even like Ewan McGregor and we'll get into them, and Nicole Kidman's chemistry. I thought that it was a bit forced. But again, the kind of production design, the sort of like a lot of the costuming, I thought was really well done, really interesting. But yeah, it just felt too over the top for me. Yeah, it's not a film for me. It's yeah, one of those that I really struggle with. Todd?
Yeah, I think that's the issue for me. So I saw this at the cinema. A group of us went, like, when I was year 8. I must have been, I know I was year 8. For some reason, this was the film that we went to see. I can appreciate how balls to the wall it is that he's just gone, like, the studio have essentially gone, go on then, Baz, you do your thing. And that's why it's going to land for a lot of people and why it didn't land for me. Like, I get that it's camp and overtly so. And this rating compared to, say, future ratings is different, and again, it's why we can't really compare them, because I tried to watch it like objectively, and I couldn't, because it's not for me. Yeah, like I say, we'll get into performances and stuff, but a lot of the silliness, potentially the word, was a bit too much for me, and that's where it dropped off.
Good stuff. Well, let's get into again a proper stacked cast. There's some really interesting choices from a lot of them. But I mean, first of all, Nicole Kidman and Hugh McGregor. I touched on it about how I didn't really like their chemistry as such. It just felt forced to me. Yeah, it was just one of those things that I didn't feel that they, in the same way that Leo and Claire Danes felt you could see from just like looks to each other, it didn't feel as real in this film for me. But Collie, obviously you are obviously the defender of this film. What did you think of their sort of chemistry and the sort of lead of the film?
Yeah, I thought they were excellent, and McGregor's coming off the back of like, you know, Trainspotting 5 years prior to that, all the way through to like being cast as Obi-Wan in Star Wars like a couple of years before it. But obviously in like Phantom Menace, he's very much like a supporting character. It's only until the year after this that he becomes like the forefront character of Obi-Wan. I thought he was really good, to be honest. The fact that he did all of his own singing surprised me when I knew that. I was like, I don't know if it's dubbed or helped or whatever in any way, but the fact that he did it all, I think is really impressive, because I don't know what his training in that is. Nicole Kidman's interested in it because I can see why people wouldn't like her performance, and it is really, really over the top, but I think that's a choice that her and Luhrmann like decided together.
Yeah.
And the kind of the little squeals or like the over the top reactions to stuff, I think is a choice. And I think as a character, Satine's supposed to be like that because she is a stage performer, and she's a stage performer in like a grandiose show, so she needs to like accentuate and exaggerate all these things, and that kind of blends into her like when she's off stage. But you could kind of argue that all of her performance and all of Satine in the film is her playing different versions of herself, so she's acting the whole time. So even like when she's first with Ewan McGregor and she thinks that he's the Duke, and then the Duke appears and stuff like that, and the way that she flips that round, and it's kind of the slapstick nature of going back to Strictly Ballroom of him hiding behind the table. So there's like a comedy, like stage play element that I think Luhrmann carries through all three of these. But yeah, I think they're both solid. I think their chemistry is, I wouldn't say it's like top couple ever on film, but I think it was convincing enough. And all the again, like to talk about Kidman, all the masks that she wears as Satine, I think she does a really good job.
Fair enough. Todd?
Yeah, I thought Ewan McGregor was solid enough. I thought there was something off about the singing, and I do think, you know, with him doing his own, like I did look at that, but I just think maybe it is the dub over the top that kind of doesn't work, and it kind of takes me out of it a little bit. But obviously, again, that's gonna have to be a choice when you've got these like grand set pieces and stuff that you can't be singing live on set, because a lot of it's, you know, all over the place. Like imagine during that love medley, he could, but in some he couldn't. I struggle with Nicole Kidman. I know we've discussed her before during like Eggers and stuff, and I don't get it. I don't understand. I thought the accent was atrocious and sort of was a bit all over the place. But I'm with you, Massey, in terms of the chemistry. It felt and like I get what you're saying, Collie, about like the different masks that she wears, and she does do that very well. So like the Satine that's on stage versus the Satine that's talking to Jim Broadbent's character, and you know that bit I get. But them two together, I wanted to feel that legitimate love, and I don't think there was a lot of it. Ewan McGregor was plenty entertaining though, and especially when he got to do the more silly moments, the more comedy moments. I did appreciate that a bit more. But yeah, I think the problem is with Ewan McGregor especially, I know what he can do, and I don't think this is a role that wholly suits him.
Fair enough. Again, the rest of the cast was full of zany characters and over the top performances. Collie, who stood out for yourself through this kind of mishmash, or again, as you said, stramash of different people that were supporting the main two?
I think Jim Broadbent's unbelievable in this. I think he's so good. Just the way that he like manipulates everybody and he puts on this facade, like even during Satine's like first performance and she collapses, and he like plays it off as part of the performance. And then the way that he's like selling her off to this duties like so dastardly, but he does have heart throughout it as well, and he kind of celebrates Satine and Christian's like romance in a way throughout it, and you can obviously tell that he cares about her, especially. But yeah, some of his performances during the bigger like musical numbers is just hilarious in the best possible way. I think he's amazing.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. For me, his performance was one that I really enjoyed. He was like, he hammed it up to a level, and like the sort of like silliness that he had was proper my taste. That one, there was others that maybe wasn't, but I thought that he was he had it like throughout. He had me, and I did think a lot of it was to do with his big baby blues. Like they seemed to just like contrast against like makeup and stuff really well. So I was fascinated by him, and almost like when we spoke about Barry Fife being a moustache twirling, he was kind of almost there as well, but just not to the full, as you say. He had a bit of heart about him as well. Just quickly, obviously touched on the ones I'll let you guys discuss them as well. I did not like John Leguizamo's character at all. He annoyed me from the off. The prosthetic nose, the really affected accent, the on his knees with shoes attached to them, like that sort of, yeah, I really hated him completely. And the Duke as well, I grew on him, but his accent throughout the whole thing annoyed me, like without a doubt. Like I really struggled with him, but I did sort of warm up to him being like the bad guy, but you always kind of understand his motivations a bit, in that he was promised this and then he didn't get it, and he was he kind of, from what I gathered, he kind of loved Satine as well, but then was obviously jealous of her relationship with Christian. So you kind of get that he's a bit of a jealous bastard. But yes,
Did he love her though?
Yeah. I mean, that's the
Massey sides with CD guy who thinks money can buy a women's company. Okay, cool.
Exactly. I always feel that's the way to a woman's heart is by buying them. Todd, thoughts on other cast?
Yeah. So Jim Broadbent is where I had to switch my brain off to be like objective about it, because in this film, he is doing what he's supposed to perfectly. I think dastardly. I can't believe that use of that word. You give him the mustache and the fucking hat, and he is Dick Dastardly. Like he's got that sort of like about him, and I think that's the perfect word for him. But it pissed me off no end. I didn't like, as in, for me watching it personally, subjectively, I fucking hated it. I hated how it's this fucking sort of smile that he does throughout the film that made me want to punch him in the face. I hate it so much. But again, for the film, I think it was balanced enough into. Does that make sense? As in, like he exemplified what Baz Luhrmann was looking for with that over the top nature. Mm-hmm. John Leguizamo, on the other hand, can go fuck himself.
Yes.
I thought it was awful. Like, not even from like a I'm offended standpoint, like just from a when he's waddling around the circle like this, and I was just like, it fucked me off. And I'll tell you which other bit really pissed me off. There was I took a photo of the TV screen because I was annoyed. Where like they came out of a song, so like it was this really tender moment. And they're obviously they're in the apartment, but it looks like they're on like they go on the clouds and stuff like that, and the Eiffel Tower in the background, all that kind of thing. And they come back into the apartment, and Chrissy and Satina having this lovely tender moment, and he's hanging from the roof outside of the heart-shaped window, going ba ba da da. I was just like, it caught Jester shit, and it really fucked me off. I thought I liked the Duke. I really like, as in, sorry, hang on. I liked the Duke's
Yes,
performance.
Todd.
I want to move myself away from Massey's opinions on certain characters' motivations. But I liked the performance. I thought, in terms of like the big bad. So, like you say, you had Jim Broadbent being the sort of the mustache twirler and the kind of the man who was, making the wheels turn as such. But for the Duke to work in the way that it did, it was really convincing for me, and probably a bit of a highlight.
Okie doke. Anything else you do it for yourself, Collie? Any other characters or trivia you want to discuss?
I think you've covered it all. We can briefly talk on the Oscars side of things. So it was nominated for 8 and won 2. Baz again wasn't even nominated, and Whoopi Goldberg even joked during the ceremony saying, "I guess Moulin Rouge must have directed itself." So Ron Howard won that year for A Beautiful Mind, and then Ridley Scott was nominated for Black Hawk Down, Peter Jackson nominated for The First Lord of the Rings, David Lynch for Mulholland Drive, and then Robert Altman for Gosford Park. I would take out Gosford Park for him. I still wouldn't give it to Baz to win it because, David Lynch is there. But, the fact that like it's nominated for 8 Oscars, including Best Picture, and it's not even like nominated for Best Director, I found that to be quite a shame. And I think even at the time, because of Goldberg joking about it and stuff, it was obviously noted at the time that it was a bit of a slap in the face for him to not even be nominated. And just on the back, about a couple other bits of things. Nicole Kidman's necklace was valued at about $1 million. It was one of the most expensive bits of jewelry ever created for a film. It was repeatedly interrupted. It was paused after Nicole Kidman broke several ribs and injured her knee while rehearsing. And I think she either re-injured the rib or hurt another rib with like the corsets that she was wearing, the way that they were tightening them and stuff like that. And just as on more of a like personal note kind of thing, a lot of people feel that this revived the movie musical. So if it wasn't for this, we wouldn't have got, Chicago a couple of years after that, Dreamgirls, or even La La Land and stuff like that as well, if it wasn't for this. So I think whether you like movie musicals or not is one side of things, but I think we've got to either scorn or thank Moulin Rouge for that. Personally, I would thank it because I do love a movie musical. Because I don't know when the last big time one was before this, but you think it'd probably been 20 years maybe since one off the top of my head, like maybe West Side Story in the 70s and stuff, that kind of era in Greece in the 70s and 80s. I can't really think of any off the top of my head that were like the 90s that really popped as movie musicals. So when this came along early 2000s and revived it, and now movie musicals are, there's a good one coming out every year or two since then. So we do have to have a thank you for that, I think.
Yeah, I must admit, like, when I was younger, like, I always not thought, but like, I felt like Moulin Rouge and Chicago were the same thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it all kind of felt like it
Like
almost not like because I know Chicago was like actually like a original musical, but it felt like they were like out similar times and maybe had similar
this
things.
Is an original musical
with real songs though, but I mean like Chicago had like,
oh right, okay,
do you know what I mean?
sorry.
Like it was like a original written song stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, totally. I appreciate what it is. Again, like you said about the Oscar side of things, like although I didn't enjoy the film and stuff, I know people did, and the fact they got a Best Picture but not a Best Director, no, it seems a bit strange. But the Oscars are very strange. All right, shall we move on to our categories then? Yeah. Okay, so favorite quote, Collie?
And it's the Christian line of the greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. I think that kind of encapsulates his feelings towards Satine, and he's obviously quite a romantic guy at heart when he's doing his writing and stuff. So I think, and the fact that it's like said a couple of times, kind of similar to the quote at this from Strictly Ballroom. I think it's a quote that kind of surmises Luhrmann's, feelings and aims to do with the love story in this film.
Yeah, totally. Mine was because it made me laugh because it was terrible writing, but it made me laugh. Was Jim Broadbent's hurt him to save him. I laughed when he said that. Todd?
Mine made me laugh, but I think it was supposed to. I don't think it was because it was bad writing. When he invites Satine up to read her poetry, and she thinks she's getting something else, and he says, "I prefer to do it standing." And when she says, "Oh," and she starts that, she says, "You don't have to stand." I mean, it's sometimes that it's quite long, and I'd like it to be comfortable. It's quite modern what I do, and I may feel a little strange at first, but I think if you're open, then you might enjoy it. I just thought that was a lovely little bit of wordplay. I thought that was fantastic.
Very well done. Favorite scene, Collie?
I know you said you didn't like it, but the diamonds are a girl's best friend, big kind of montagey bit. That was my favorite. I think that just kind of showed off everything to do with the film, the singing, the choreography, the sets, the outfits, all that kind of stuff. I think it was a great, to quote a Massey word, bombastic like kick off of the film.
Mm-hmm. The glitz, the glamour, the kind of over the top.
Very much so.
Mine was Like a Virgin. I laughed throughout that whole thing. I thought it was hilarious. Loved it. Todd?
Mine was Come What May. For everything that I've said about the film, one of the original songs for it was stunning. Was really stunning.
Mm-hmm. And MVP, Collie?
I previously mentioned MVP, Catherine Martin. She won 2 Oscars for this, Best Art Direction and Best Costume Design. So there you go.
Yep. Great minds. And for me, MVP was Jim Broadbent. I just think he was great. I loved him being totally manic, and as we touched on, surprisingly layered as well. Had a good bit of heart to him as well, and his baby blues, of course, as well.
I don't think he's going to be Todd's MVP. I'm just putting it, I guess.
Catherine Martin might be. Todd?
No, mine was Richard Roxburgh. I liked the Duke. I thought he was again.
No, I just laughing that Massey hated him or didn't really like him, and then you use your MVP and you hated Broadbent, and Massey's is Massey's MVP.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Massey. Yeah, no. I thought he was the sort of the ideal villain. I thought he was the ideal villain.
And if you like him as a villain, sorry,
on you go.
If you like him as a villain, Van Helsing.
True, and he's in is it Mission Impossible 2? I think he's in that as well. Him and Dougray Scott. I think he's his right hand man. Just back to the Oscars thing briefly. Nicole Kidman was actually nominated Best Actress for this. Just so you know. That was the year Halle Berry won it.
Mental. All right, ratings. Well, Collie, I think we know where this is going.
4 for me.
Was actually.
Yeah,
I thought it was 5. Fair enough. 2 for me. Todd?
2.5 for me.
Fair enough.
A full star less than Repo, whatever the fuck its name is.
Watch it, trust me. In fact, actually, think about
nothing will replace that. 4.5 stars, man.
Yeah. Thing is, this actually, I'm thinking about it now. This is probably more on Repo, kind of with the sets and stuff. Yeah. Anyway, watch Repo. Trust me, it's brilliant. I'm gonna watch it tonight instead of The Mummy. Right, that is part 1 of Mr. Baz Luhrmann done. We're going to be going into part 2 very shortly. If you're watching this, of course, it'll be out on Thursday. Yeah, if you're watching, you should, as always, remember to like, subscribe. Let us know what you thought about Moulin Rouge and Baz Luhrmann and what we've spoken about. And if you like Jim Broadbent's Baby Blues, then let us know, of course. And if you're listening on Spotify, of course, remember to follow, give us 5 stars. And yeah, let us know what you think. But thank you so much for watching, listening, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.